What's going on, guys? So I'm going to do something different here today. I'm just going to get on the mic solo and rant about some of my thoughts about nutrition. And I'm going to be doing this more moving forward, putting out weekly videos on YouTube, just really fleshing out some of my thoughts in nutrition. Now, if you follow me on social media, you know that I post a lot of short form content out there tackling different topics in the world of nutrition, right? You see me on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, whatever. And the limitation of those platforms is you only have 2 to 3 minutes to talk about one of those topics. And that doesn't give you enough time to flesh out the nuances, the details, really dive into the thought process behind things. So I'm going to be doing more videos like this moving forward, whether it's covering big picture topics or specific things like keto diets or my thoughts around building diets around carbohydrates or low fat approaches, dietary approaches for athletes versus gen pop, dietary approaches for different types of athletes, dietary approaches for fat loss or muscle gain, and should you bulk or lean gain, right? So I'll be diving into things like that on a weekly basis here in this format moving forward. But right now, what I wanted to do today is just touch on a topic that has been on my mind and it's been bugging me a little bit. And it's all centered around the dogma that I see in the nutrition space. For some reason, the topic of nutrition is this highly heated, stigmatized, dogmatized topic, more so than a lot of other things. And, I've been thinking about why. And I think I know why, having given it more thought. And I'll get into that here in a minute. But, you look around social media, podcasts, YouTube, the nutrition space in general. And like I said, there's so much dogma out there. You've got big time nutrition influencers, big voices in the industry with big platforms who are screaming about fad diets from the rooftops, who are trying to sell people and market with these fad diets or miracle cure-alls, cleanses, unorthodox dietary approaches. And I think that is just spreading so much misinformation. It's causing fear mongering and it's driving people into these identity cults. And I'll expand on that here in a minute. But, my general thought as it pertains to how do you approach nutrition is you need to zoom out. You need to look at the big picture, look at the big picture context. Okay. There is no perfect diet. There is no optimal diet. There is no diet that humans were meant to follow. Okay. And all the dogma out there would convince you otherwise. It would convince you that there is a perfect diet. There is a diet that humans need to be following. And if you're not following this diet, you're shortening your life, or you're going down this unhealthy road, or you're just missing the boat in some way. In the words of Stan Efferding, the best diet is the one that you'll follow. And I think there's real wisdom in that, right? When you're talking about how to approach nutrition, like I said, you need to zoom out and look at the big picture. You need to look at the context of who is the individual in question? Who are you messaging to? Who is this diet approach for? And then beyond that, what is the goal of that individual? What is the desired outcome of nutrition for that individual? And all of these vary wildly. Okay. The way that I would approach nutrition for a bodybuilder is vastly different than the way I would approach nutrition for just a general population person who wants to lose a little bit of body fat, right? The way that I would approach nutrition for an endurance athlete is different than the way I would approach nutrition for a power lifter. Okay. And the list goes on and on. The way I would approach nutrition for somebody trying to lose body fat versus someone trying to gain muscle is going to vary wildly. And then within those various goals, the individual themselves is going to dictate the approach that we are going to take. Okay. And it's not a sexy way to approach nutrition. It's not a marketable way to approach nutrition. It's not a thought process that is going to get clicks and be polarizing and ruffle feathers and stir people up. But in my view, when it comes to driving a certain nutrition-based outcome, like I said, whether that's fat loss, whether that's muscle gain, whether that's addressing digestion and gut health issues, whether that's fueling the demands of a certain sport, you need to zoom out, look at who's the individual and what is the goal. Okay, do that before you're looking at the individual small variables. I think that's a big fallacy that people commit a lot, is they're not looking at the big picture. They're assigning labels to small variables like individual foods or macronutrients, and labeling them as, which food is healthy, which food is unhealthy, or good or bad, or which macronutrient is good or bad, right? Oh, this food is unhealthy, avoid it, or this food's a superfood, you need to include it, it's going to add years to your life, or don't eat meat, it's going to give you cancer, or you should only eat meat and vegetables are toxic, and it's a conspiracy driven by the government, and all this stuff. And it's spreading so much misinformation. It's such a poor way to approach nutrition. So, like with the words healthy or unhealthy, what does that even mean, right? It's such a vague term. What is healthy? Are we talking about longevity? How long can you live? Are we talking about body composition? Are we talking fat loss? Are we talking about a life without illness? Are we talking about how you feel day to day, right? It's such a vague term. So to just assign these binary black and white labels onto foods and macronutrients and dietary approaches, in my opinion, it's just the wrong way to go about it. And one of the things that is really spreading this dogma and this misinformation are all these diets that have names, right? Diets that have a name instantly get my radar up. They instantly make me skeptical, because diets with names are marketable, right? A diet with a name can be packaged and sold. And beyond that, diets with names create these identity cults. Okay, so when we look at diets with names like keto, carnivore, vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, now you'll see things like, the sugar fasting diet, the snake diet, things like this. Now, I'm not here to raise an issue specifically with any of these diets in and of themselves. All of these diets, and there's many more than what I just listed, but all of these diets in a certain context can have utility, right? A keto diet can have utility for a certain type of individual in a certain type of situation, or a keto diet could be used to achieve the same goal that other diets could be used to achieve, right? So my point here isn't to say that a diet with a name or any of the diets that I just mentioned are worthless, or just fake news or anything like that. But what I see with a lot of these diets are people follow them, and they tend to be the loudest voices in the nutrition space. And they're driving that dogma thought process and messaging, this is how humans were meant to eat. This is the way that you should be eating. This is the superior diet. And what I think is the root cause of this is not so much that these people really believe or understand that the diet that they're talking about is truly superior from a nutrition standpoint, but rather it is now part of their identity. They are identifying with this group, right? I'm a keto guy. I'm part of the carnivore community. I'm part of the vegan community. And that's attractive to people, because now they are a part of something bigger than themselves, right? Now they're a part of a community. And I think that is what sucks people in and indoctrinates people. And then suddenly they've got this thing in common. They're united with these other people in this cult, right? In this, under this umbrella of this diet that has a name. And now that they want to scream it from the rooftops. They want to let everyone know that I'm a vegan, or I follow a carnivore diet, or I'm keto, and this is the way that you should be eating, and my way is superior to yours. And I think that is just a poor way to go about it. And like I said, I think that's why you see so much dogma in the world of nutrition, is because you've got all of these little identity cults going on. And again, these people have these loud voices about their whatever diet they're subscribing to, not because they truly believe in the specific function of the diet or the specific metabolic advantages that the diet allegedly has, or that they truly have this understanding that, okay, no, this diet really is superior to other diets for these practical purposes. But again, it's more about the fact that they're a part of something, and people like being a part of something. They like having a leader, right? There's the leader of the group who's the big voice on social media about that diet, and they identify with that person. They're a fan of that person. And there are good things and there are bad things about it. On the one hand, you can give credit where credit's due, in that, hey, if you've got a big platform, you've got a big audience, and you're hammering information about a specific diet. Hey guys, you follow this diet, the keto diet, war on carbs, the carnivore diet, veganism, whatever. If you're getting people who otherwise just wouldn't even give nutrition a second thought, who just otherwise wouldn't care at all about their nutrition, and now you're getting them to be more cognizant of their nutrition. Now they're more focused on it. Now they're incorporating nutrition into their lifestyle. That can be a good thing. But when you are just spreading information that is now making people think that, oh, if I want to lose weight, I need to avoid carbs, or, oh, if I don't want to die of cancer, I need to stop eating meat, right? That is where I draw the issue. And again, when all this information is often being spread, not because people really understand the diet, but because they like identifying with the diet group, that's just where that's where good information is no longer in the equation, because it's not about good information at that point. It's about the name brand of the diet. It's about the community. And I think that is an issue that we see in the world of nutrition. So I just want to be a voice out here that says, look at the big picture, just look at the context, look at the individual, look at what their goal is, and then let's put together a nutrition approach that is going to best accommodate that specific goal for that individual, with the understanding that there's no singular one perfect way to do it. But let's find a way that we can put together a nutrition approach that will work for that individual and appropriately help them get to their goal. And again, going back to the original quote from Stan Efferding, the best diet is the one that you'll follow. So anyway, guys, appreciate you for tuning in on this. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out more videos expanding on my thoughts around nutrition as a whole. If there's anything you guys want me to specifically cover, drop it in the comments, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think.